Good morning, friends. Welcome to Discovery Garden Story Time. That's a mouthful. Um, I'm glad to be here today. I'm Miss Krysti from the library, and I got Miss Maryjo with me this morning.
Good morning, Miss Krysti.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I think it's a beautiful day. It's going to be a hot day, though.
It is.
Yeah, and it's even hotter with our masks on.
It is.
Steams up my glasses.
But we're wanting to be very careful, so we've been wearing our mask and we're doing our social distance so that we don't get all breathy on each other and stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I am going to take my mask off long enough to read you a story today.
Excellent.
And and in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be fall, and that is my favorite time is fall. I love the fall, and I love the colors and stuff. So I was looking for a book, and this is an older book, but I love the story.
Oh, good.
And it's a sweet book, and it's about the busy little squirrel. And we're going to see what the squirrel's doing today.
I bet he's into mischief.
He might be. We'll see here. But it's called The Busy Little Squirrel, and it's Nancy Tefuri, I believe is how you say her last name. And I have a couple squirrels that live in my backyard. They live in our big old tree. And they are so used to us that if we sit outside, they like to sit over beside us and just watch what we're doing. So here's our little squirrel here at the beginning, and we got a couple little mice over here by a pumpkin. I think he might meet a few friends on the way. So the leaves were falling, and the air was getting cold. And it'll be getting colder here before we know it. And as you can see, he's starting to run through. But I'm wondering why he's running, Miss Maryjo. What do you think?
Is someone chasing him?
Well, I don't know. Let's see. But I do see a caterpillar that's sitting on the pumpkin.
Uh-oh.
It was time for Squirrel to get ready for winter. So they spend their time in the fall getting ready for winter. And let's see what he's going to do to get ready. And I see a little spider down here on the leaf. And I also see another squirrel running around. He's a little tiny there, but he's right in there. Squeak, squeak, said Mouse. Will you nibble a pumpkin with us? So here's the little mice. They're nibbling on a pumpkin. But Squirrel couldn't. He says, nope, I can't. I can't today. He is still running. He was so busy. There he's looking up in the tree, and that's an apple. He's looking at the apple there.
Look at his long tail.
I know, isn't it gorgeous?
I wonder if that's helpful.
That might be. There's another squirrel back here in the back. He's climbing up the tree. And then there's a caterpillar again. So we're seeing all kinds of little critters through there. Sweet, sweet, said Bird. Will you rest on a branch with us? But Squirrel couldn't, and do you see he's got something in his mouth? What do you guys think that is? And there's some beautiful little birds sitting there. But he couldn't stop because he was busy. Now he's looking in the bird's feeder. I don't know if he's taking anything out of that feeder, but he sure is looking in there. And there's the cricket up on top of the feeder looking too. And there's that other squirrel running around. Crick, crick, said Frog. Will you hop rocks with us? But Squirrel couldn't. But look, he's looking around here. He sees different things on there by the frogs.
Is he too busy?
He was so busy, Miss Maryjo.
That's why he couldn't play with his friends.
No, he couldn't stop and play because he's busy. And there's a little fish going through the water here. And he's looking at some berries up here on a branch. And there's that other squirrel in the background. Makes you wonder, do they know each other?
I bet they might.
And they're up to something? Meow, meow, said Cat. Will you lie in the sun with us? But Squirrel couldn't. He's running over. And I see the other squirrel. He's up the tree here. Can you see his tail there? He was busy. He couldn't stop. But he's looking at the nuts on the branch here. And look, there's some bees flying around. And there's that other squirrel. You see him down there in the background. Woof, woof, said Dog. Will you run in the field with us? But Squirrel couldn't. He was so busy. And look at him. He's hanging off a corn. You think he's trying to get that corn?
I bet he's trying to eat that corn.
No, I bet he's trying to eat it. And I see the tail of the other squirrel running the other way behind that pumpkin. Hoo, 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 called Al. Will you watch the moon with us? But Squirrel couldn't. Are you starting to see anything around in this picture here? What do you think, Miss Maryjo? Do you see anything?
I see a tree branch.
And it's got the owls.
I see a hole in the trunk.
Looks like there might be some things in
I
there.
wonder what.
He was fast asleep in that branch. And can you tell what he put in the branch?
I bet he put in everything he collected.
He put everything in there he collected. He has apples and berries and corn and, of course, nuts. And he's getting ready to rest for the winter. And the other squirrel, he's over here in this tree. That's where he lives. So they're neighbors.
Oh.
They're neighbors. The end. That's kind of a cute little story, isn't it?
He was too busy to play that day.
He was, but like us, we get prepared for each season. Sometimes your mommies will take and put your winter clothes up and get your spring clothes out, and the same with your summer clothes, put them up and get your fall stuff out. So we always get ready, and all the little creatures around us get ready for each season. So do you have anything for us today, Miss Maryjo?
Oh, I do. You told me you were going to talk about squirrels, so that gave me an idea. Yeah.
Good.
Good morning, boys and girls, moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas. It's nice to be back to story time because we've been gone for 5 weeks, and it's nice to say hello again. Tomorrow, we begin Discovery Garden down in Yaktanji Park. We're having a new program called Explorers Club. And it's for curious children who like to be outdoors in nature. Each week we'll have a zoology and a botany lesson, and we'll take a long walk and make collections and art. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you can come, 9:30 to noon on Thursdays. Well, Miss Krysti, I see a tree, and I see a squirrel, and this squirrel is holding a nut.
Wow.
Can you see what kind of nut it is?
I can see a little bit of it. What you got there?
It's an acorn.
It's in an acorn.
Yeah, acorns come from oak trees. You
They're
know
beautiful.
that. Yeah, and the caps sometimes pop off, and sometimes people use them for little hats.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wonder what this squirrel would look like if we put an acorn hat on his head. That could be lots of fun. Well, this is Squirrel Nutkin, Miss Krysti. And Squirrel Nutkin has a friend named Beatrix Potter.
Okay.
And she wrote a lot of stories about Squirrel Nutkin because he is so mischievous. And he's always, always, always busy, like the squirrels in your book.
Yeah.
And here's a little verse about him. Frisky, whisky, hippity hop. Up he climbs to the treetop. Whirly, twirly, round and round, down he scampers to the ground. Curly, flurly, what a tail, as tall as a feather, as broad as a sail. Where is his supper? In the shell. Snappity, crackety, out it fell.
Oh.
And so he has to chew and chew and chew and chew on his nuts in order to get the nut meat inside. So, Miss Krysti, do you know the name of this nut?
I'm not sure. What is it?
It's a walnut.
A walnut.
Yes. And do you know the name of this one? It's very famous in Ohio.
Now, I make cookies like those.
You do?
Yes.
And what do you call them?
We call them Buckeye.
That's what this is. It's come from the buckeye tree. And then we have an acorn, which comes from an oak tree.
Yeah.
So what tree do you think comes a walnut?
I don't know, a walnut tree?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Well, here's a funny story, boys and girls. I went away this weekend to visit my sister. And when I came home, it was time to water all the pots of flowers on my back porch. And when I looked into the biggest flower pot, you'll never guess what I found in there. This.
I've seen those.
We find these in the park all the time, and it is called a black walnut. Now, to get to the nut, the squirrel first has to peel off the skin, then get to the nut, and then crack open the nut to get the nut meat. It's a very hard nut to eat. And I think Squirrel Nutkin buried this in my flower pot to save for winter. Squirrel Nutkin, that was very silly of you, very silly of you. But I see that you have been collecting nuts, and where are you putting them? Oh, you're hiding them in holes in the tree trunk? Oh, well, maybe you should get this one too and hide it. And around and around and around, and you dropped it in, and then you came down and you found some more. Oh, look, here's another one. You can get that one and put it into the nest. Oh, you know, Miss Krysti, squirrels build little nests out of sticks and dirt, and it's called a dray.
Okay.
And if you look high up in the trees, you can sometimes see them when the leaves fall off. And that's where the squirrels spend their winter. So sometimes they hide their nuts there, but most of the time they hide their nuts everywhere. And I wonder, boys and girls, how do they remember where they've hidden them? Every time they find one, it must be a big surprise. Well, Squirrel Nutkin kept gathering up the nuts and hiding them in his dray hole. But when he went to eat supper that night, there were no nuts. What is happening? Said Squirrel Nutkin. I have been busy gathering nuts all day long, but now there's nothing in my dray. Whatever could have happened? And just then Squirrel Nutkin heard a little laughing. What is that sound? Said Squirrel Nutkin. It sounds like someone is in my dray. And he went and looked and looked and looked in all the holes. And what did he find? Ha! It was his friend Bobkin. Bobkin, have you been eating my nuts? Which was squirrel language for I most certainly did. Thank you for the feast. Now, said Squirrel Nutkin, tomorrow you will have to help me gather more nuts. Asked Squirrel Bobkin, will you share them with me? Only if you are busy and work hard, said Squirrel Nutkin. Goodbye. And Squirrel Nutkin went off to find some more nuts to hide in his dray for winter. Now you might say, Bobkin didn't do very much work. All he did was eat them. Now, boys and girls, did you know, Miss Krysti, that their teeth are very long? The front teeth of squirrels are very long, and their cousins are rats and mice.
Oh,
Who knew?
I didn't know
Rats
that.
and mice for cousins. And if they do not eat food with their teeth grow longer and longer and longer
Oh my.
and longer until finally they curl under the squirrel's chin and choke him off.
Oh,
It's
no.
terrible. How would you eat if your teeth were curled under your chin? It's impossible. So that's why they must eat food and nuts, hard things all the time, and chew on wood and get it, so that they keep their teeth nice and clean.
Yeah,
Aren't they smart?
they are smart.
So let's say this poem again. Frisky, whisky, hippity, hop, up he climbs to the treetop. Whirly, twirly, round and round, down he scampers to the ground. Curly, flurly, what a tail, as tall as a feather, as broad as a sail. Where is his supper? In the shell. Snappity, crackety, out it fell. You know, boys and girls, a fun game to play with your parents and your sisters and brothers might be to get a bag of walnuts from the grocery store and see if you can open them up. You could pretend to be a squirrel today. And when you open it up, there'll be something good to eat inside. I wonder how many you'll be able to crack open. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Krysti, I hope you have a wonderful week.
You too. I enjoyed your little story. That was very
Thank
cute.
you. You know, autumn is coming and it will get cooler soon.
It will.
And then before you know it, we'll be sitting here with sweaters on. And we sing goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. We'll see each other soon. Chicka, chicka, boom, boom. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great day.